Kendo Podcast episode 163. In this episode, I want to share what I learned at Kodansha seminar.
Kendo Podcast by Hiro Mafuji from Kendo-Guide.com. Thank you for listening. This podcast is about Japanese martial arts Kendo for Kendo lovers and supported by Kendo enthusiasts through Patreon.com. Thank you for your support, guys. Please visit Kendo-Guide.com for more Kendo information and how to support Kendo-Guide.com.
Welcome to Kendo Podcast episode 163. I did go to Kodansha seminar held at, where was it? Where did I go? Oh, Las Vegas. A weekend, the first weekend of June, and that was very. Actually, that was my first time being at Las Vegas, and I liked it a lot. You know, a lot of buildings were like, oh, exactly. I see in the movies or on TV. So I was kind of excited driving. But it's a pity that I didn't have time to look around, but I enjoyed the seminar. And I had a good time at the seminar and meeting a lot of people. So I was having fun. And what I want to share is that it's a Kodansha seminar and adult seminar as well. So we have two groups. Kodansha from 4段, I think 4段 to 7段, 4th dan to 7th dan, and adult practitioners group. So I was in the Kodansha group, and guess what we did? Basics. You know, start from how to sit in seiza. All right. It's a part of the reason was that we are instructors, so we have to properly instruct students, right? So that's why we went over the basics, okay? Even from how to stand, how to sit on seiza, and now Kendo Federation, not only all US, International Kendo Federation they are trying to have one way to do things. Okay, so like I always say, Kendo used to have many different styles, like Koryu, right? This school does this school does this. It's a part of Kenjutsu practice, of course. So many different ways were there. So I do things differently from other people because of my sensei, right? So I think that is okay to do things differently. But also, I think it's very important to know what International Kendo Federation is telling you to do. So when you participate in that International Kendo Federation, what do you call it? Like seminar like this, you can follow. You can do the same thing as a part of International Kendo Federation. So it is good to know other than like, oh, that's not how I do. Or if you're doing differently, that doesn't mean you're wrong. If you have certain reason, and if you learned that from your sensei, and your sensei did something different, sensei learns things from their senseis too. So these are coming down from, sensei to sensei, and it goes on. We inherited what we passed on, right? So I think it's very okay, and also it's very important to know what International Kendo Federation is trying to do. So, of course, I learned new stuff, and how International Kendo Federation trying to make you to sit in seiza too. Well, I didn't know that, and probably we should really have the, if you don't follow a particular style, I think it's best way. The best way is to follow International Kendo Federation's instructions, right? So I think it's important for everyone to know, okay, and it clear things up. So I think I should go over written instructions as well. But anyway, so we did how to sit, how to say, gore, how to command, like seiza, okay, or chakuza. Now International Kendo Federation says chakuza. When I was a kid and we used to say seiza at my dojo, and then they even changed it when I visited last time. So, things change, so that's okay. Now, seiza chakuza means it's a command, sit. Okay, sit. Basically, it says sit. And seiza is a status of sitting. So it means correct way of sitting, which is what we do in Kendo. So that is the form of how you sit. Okay, so seiza. Okay, and apparently now when this is seiza, some dojo do mokuso as well. That's a brand new information for me. So, but it's okay to say mokuso as well. So, it's very hard to unite everything because everyone has been doing their own ways for a long time, and then they don't want to change things because that's what way they did, how they have been doing for like years, right? For some people, maybe from the beginning of their Kendo life, like for me, like from 7, when I started Kendo at the age of 7, I've been doing that for like, almost, how long? Almost 40 years. Wow. I shouldn't have thought about it. But almost 40 years. So, it's hard to change, but it's okay. If they say, okay, this is what we want to do, okay, I can handle that. I used to bow from left and right. That's how they used to taught us. But now International Kendo Federation says at the same time, both hands on the floor at the same time. I get that. So we do that, right? As long as we know the difference between one way to the other, I think that's okay. But anyway, so we went to kamae as well. Okay, kamae, how you should be taking chudan at Kodansha seminar. Okay, for 4th dan to 7th dan. Of course, a lot of things I know were there, so, and also like, it can double check. Okay, the way I'm doing it is right. Okay, probably I should be teaching my students like that. Okay, so that was the important part of the seminar, right? If you go there and then go, no, it's not what I do. I'm not going to teach that. And then what's the point of going there, right? And also talking about tenouchi as well, right? And I got some ideas, and the way we have to teach things with reason, because most of if you are teaching kids, you don't want to talk to them a lot because they get bored. But if you're teaching adults, you need to give them reasons so they understand logically. Apparently, adults tend to learn logical first, and they want to know why, reason, and then do it. So they can kind of understand what they should be doing. So when I learned something, and I go, I probably should say that. So they do the correct things. That's the aim. We want them to do correct things so they will not develop bad habits. When you have bad habits in your adulthood, right, it's hard to get rid of. I mean, if you start Kendo at in your 30s or 40s, you don't want to have bad habits. it takes long to get rid of. Well, and it's easier if you learn without habits, right? So, good habits should remain, bad habits should be removed. So, I thought that was a very, very good idea. I got a very good idea. Even for Suburi as well, how you should be striking, and the reason why some people have their left hand too high, right? So it's really important to know, and we can't just say don't do it. We can say don't do it. Okay, this is not what we should be doing. They understand that, but this is how you should be doing. They need to have a goal. This is a goal. This is what you should be doing. And also, you have to give your students, okay, so you're doing this, you should be doing that, and fill out this gap from point A from point B. So point A to goal. So okay, then because you're doing this, you're doing that. So let's remove this step, okay, and add this step, or just remove one step so you can start doing the right thing. I think that's a very important process of learning as well. Now, and the main thing was 木刀による剣道技基本法. I don't know if I said it right, but it's a kendo. It's a method of learning kendo movements with bokdo. Okay, so that is in the U.S. There will be. We're not sure how we're gonna apply it, but for Q exam, we are going to differently do Bokto Nyoru Kendo Wazaki Honho. 2020, I think, we applied that for Q grading from 2020. So everyone should know how to do it. And Bokto Nyoru Kendo Kihonho, Bokto Kihonho is very difficult. It looks like you're just doing it. You look like a man, kote do tsuki, kote man, men suriyage, harai men, and, all kinds of things. You have to take zanshin and take a step backwards. So it has all kendo movements. And the purpose of this is, if you're doing kata, there are always counterattacks, right? But this one is not designed like that. So you can focus on learning kendo movements rather than learning kendo. Kendo kata is more like, learning from the past and keep it and pass it on to the next generation. Okay, so this is that. So it's a historical, cultural part of is included, right? And Bokto Kihonho is more like, okay, let's help these kids or new kendo practitioners with kendo movements. I was thinking that, well, we have kendo kata. Why do we have to, Bokto Kihonho as well? But the purpose is different. Okay, purpose is different. And then I was thinking maybe, because it's a part of the reason I should teach my students is because it's going to be a part of exam. So they have to know how to do it. But at the same time, this maybe is a great breakthrough for a lot of people, kendo practitioners, especially, the brand new beginners. The reason is they have hasuji. Hasuji is the direction of the blade, or they have shinogi, the side of the sword. So we have to understand the concept of katana, right? And we have to apply that to Shinai Kendo. Now, when you do kata, a lot of people are really busy with learning forms, right? What's next? This is how. Okay, how can you strike do in number 7? How do you receive? Blah blah blah, right? But Bokutoki Honho is kendo movement, so you teach beginners suburi, and then you apply that to Bokutoki Honho. So that's easy to shift. Kendo kata is a bit complicated for beginners. You learn kendo movement, and at the same time you have to learn kendo kata. But at my dojo, the dojo I instruct, we do kata. Beginners do kata too, and they can do it. It's no problem. They can do kendo kata and kendo movements. There's some confusion there, of course, all the time. There's always confusion because they learn kata and kendo at the same time. So they mix them up, right? But it's important for instructors say, okay, these are separate things. So don't do that when you do kendo. The way we walk in kendo kata, we don't do that in kendo shinai kendo. Okay, we can do that, but at the very beginning, this phase, beginner's phase, you shouldn't be doing that. That will make your kendo slower. Okay, we have a reason, right, why we are not doing that. So if you explain that to beginners and they understand, they won't do it. So it's very important to separate those two, and beginners understand, okay, that's fine, I'm not going to do this in kendo. And then at the same time, I'm going to do this in kata because it's for Shinai Kendo. So if they have this clear idea of what they should be doing, those two, there's no confusion. Okay? But it is true, I have to admit that Bokutoki Honho can learn kendo movements, and at the same time, they can learn the principle of the katana. Okay? So that's I think it's very unique, and you can teach beginners this is what you should be doing, with Shinai. So that's a great thing. So I think it's very important for everyone to know the concept of kendo. Okay, that's the application of the principles of the katana, right? So we need to know that. And then we did Bokutoki Honho about 2 hours, and then we put men on. By the way, in the morning, what we did was etiquette and suburi. That's all we did. And in the afternoon, 2 hours of Bokutoki Honho, and just a little bit of put men on. And what we did, we didn't get into Jigeko straight away. What we did was basics, kirikaishi. So at any level, all right. Again, we were learning how to instruct, but at the same time, we were told your basics had to be right, right? Our basics has to be right because the students are watching us. So that's very important for the instructors to do the right things because we are the example. So we were doing kirikaishi a lot and main strike. We did a lot of basics and a bit of jigeko. Okay? It's like 1 hour at least, at most 1 hour, not over 1 hour, just a little bit. Okay? And day 2, we put men on straight away. Okay? And then we did Bokutoki Honho. Of course, Bokutoki Honho, kirikaishi. And that was a half day, but that was very interesting, very, very interesting. And if you try, I suggested before do kata with menno, same concept. But Bokutoki Honho is made for Shinai Kendo, and it's easier to apply. Okay, but anyway, so Bokutoki Honho in men, and at the same time, we did a lot of kirikaeshi, a lot of men strikes, a lot of kote strikes, a lot of do strikes. So it's all basics. Okay. And then 30 minutes of jigeko. How's that? Of course, I wanted to do jigeko with many senseis, but, we didn't have time. So the important part is I learned a lot and I have a lot to pass on to my students. So I think it's very important. Now, at any level, we're doing basics. We are polishing up basics, and it never ends. Okay, you're a beginner. You're learning basics. When you put men on, you don't do basics. That doesn't happen like that. Okay, so you're polishing up your basics, and remove unnecessary movements. You smoothen your kendo, and then that's how we improve kendo. Okay, so basics is never removed from our kendo. Okay, thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next podcast. I would like to send special thanks to patrons for their constant support through patreons.com/Kendo for Life.